Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a wild, mostly invisible global supply chain that sits right behind the world's most popular sport. Every single time you watch a professional football match or just kick a ball around at the park, there is a massive, deeply human story woven right into that synthetic leather. It's this incredible blend of generational craftsmanship, global economics, and rapidly changing technology.
Let's kick things off, pun absolutely intended, with a number that's going to completely flip how you look at sports gear. 70%.
So, where exactly does 70% of the world's hand-stitched footballs actually come from? You'd probably guess a giant, automated mega factory in China, right? Or maybe some boutique sporting workshop over in Europe. Nope. They actually come from Sialkot, a bustling city in the Punjab province of Pakistan. This single city exports over $500 million in sports goods every single year. We're talking an estimated 40 to 60 million footballs annually for literally every major brand you can think of.
Part 1. The Hidden Football Capital.
To understand this total market dominance, we have to rewind all the way back to the 1880s, under British colonial rule. Sialkot was already pretty famous for precision metalwork, but then, as the local legend goes, a cobbler repaired a damaged football for a British soldier. Words spread like wildfire about their skill, and by 1922, they landed their first official British Army contract, which set off this massive generational chain reaction. Fast forward to 1982, and a Sialkot manufacturer produces the Adidas Tango España, the very first official World Cup ball made in Pakistan. And today, every single FIFA World Cup match ball since 2014 has been manufactured right here in Sialkot.
Moving on to Part 2, Anatomy of a Match Ball. So, how do they actually make these things? It's an insanely intricate four-step process. First up is panel cutting and printing. Then comes lamination, where they use layers of cotton polyester cloth so the ball retains its shape. Third is the actual joining process, either stitching or thermal bonding. And finally, bladder insertion. They'll use latex for a softer touch or butyl if they want better air retention. Everything ends with rigorous quality control. They have to meet these incredibly strict FIFA Quality Pro standards, pushing things like water absorption and sphericity to the absolute limit. When you map out the hand-stitched process, it looks like a giant, perfectly coordinated human puzzle. You have procurement officers bringing in Japanese microfiber polyurethane, screen printers laying down UV-resistant inks, skilled cutters running hydraulic presses to a crazy half-millimeter tolerance, and quality assurance officers visually checking every single seam. It is a beautifully organized, fully vertical supply chain.
Part 3. The Art of Stitching.
This is where it gets literally hands-on. A classic match ball is made up of 32 individual panels. That's 20 hexagons and 12 pentagons. To put all that together, it takes an artisan 3 grueling hours to pull roughly 700 stitches. And they aren't just casually sewing. They're using 2 waxed polyester threads, pulling with about 45 kilograms of tension per stitch. That massive force buries the seam deep below the synthetic leather, which is what gives the ball that perfectly smooth outer surface that pros and repair shops still absolutely love.
But, the industry is evolving fast. We're now seeing a real showdown between traditional hand-stitched balls, which use that tough 5-ply polyester thread and are actually repairable, and seamless thermal-bonded balls. Thermal bonding uses heat and pressure to literally fuse the panels together. The result? Practically zero water absorption and a smoother, much faster feel. So while hand-stitched balls are still huge for standard matches and training, thermal-bonded ones have completely taken over top-tier professional matches because of their durability and consistent rebound.
All right, Section 4, the Fair Play Revolution. Now, we have to talk about a pretty dark chapter. Back in 1996, an international crisis erupted. A magazine published photos of a 12-year-old boy in Sialkot stitching a football for a massive global brand, and the world immediately turned its eyes to Pakistan. The outrage over child labor was intense, and it forced everyone, the industry, global brands, international organizations, to radically and swiftly transform the entire supply chain. It was truly a make-or-break moment for the city. But the turnaround was incredible. Just a year later, in 1997, the Atlanta Agreement was signed by FIFA, the ILO, UNICEF, and local manufacturers. It completely revolutionized Sialkot's ethical practices. They took stitchers out of unsupervised home settings and centralized them into highly monitored facilities. They brought in independent auditors, and those audits showed that an amazing 96 to 97% of those kids successfully returned to school.
brands that were ready to jump ship actually doubled down because now Sialkot offered elite quality alongside strict ethical compliance. Today, this reformed fair trade system is an absolute lifeline. Take Sadaf, for example. She's a local artisan who stitches balls with her family, and she says, "Football, without any doubt, has been the central character in our lives. It helps us keep this roof over our heads." For thousands of families, making up about 8% of Sialkot's entire population, this industry remains their economic bedrock. It pays for daily meals, weddings, and, crucially, their children's education.
Which brings us to our final section, the future of Sialkot.
So what's next? Well, according to local manufacturers, things are shifting, and I mean fast. Hand-stitched balls used to make up 80 to 90% of Sialkot's output. Today, that number has plummeted to just 20%. The vast majority of production is now entirely dominated by machine-stitched and thermal-bonded manufacturing. It basically all comes down to pure, unavoidable economics. Think about it. A highly skilled artisan busting their back all day, pulling heavy threads, can produce maybe 3 to 5 match-quality hand-stitched footballs. But a factory worker sitting at a sewing machine, they can crank out 50 to 60 footballs in that exact same time frame. That is a 10-fold increase in productivity. The global market just can't ignore numbers like that. You can really see this automated future when you look at the thermal bonded process. It is highly industrialized, totally replacing traditional human stitching. Instead, you've got yarn winding machine operators, bladder gluing, assembling, and massive heat treatment machines curing the panels inside spherical molds under intense pressure. It's faster, it's scalable, and it creates a perfectly seamless ball that sails through those intense FIFA Quality Pro lab tests for rapid pressure loss and rebound consistency. So this whole evolution leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. We've seen how this one city, powered by generations of artisans, literally built the backbone of the world's most popular sport. But as machines completely take over in this relentless race for speed, volume, and absolute technological perfection, will the deeply human story, the 45 kilograms of tension pulled by hand, the families paying for school through their craft,